Hey, it's Rob and welcome to Axel's Garage. We're out here with the '03 Suburban, and we got a common problem that, most people have when the vehicles get older. Let me see if you can see what my problem is, and that's this door dropping down. So I'll zoom you in a little bit. You can see here it's about a quarter of an inch down on this corner here, and it doesn't really like to close. You really got to give it a slam to get it to close all the way, and that's because I got this much play, and that's no good. That's a worn out hinge, or hinges, or hinge pinches, and we have a door hinge repair kit. And he's always got to start a call when I'm talking. That's the big dummy. He's leaving. I'm here with Amanda, and we're going to put replacement door hinge pins in this hinge, so that it will stop this sag. And more importantly, we're going on a trip next week with it. And what happens, even when you slam it closed, you get a little whistling right along here somewhere. A little air getting through. And most people attribute that to the worn out hinge pins. What did I say? Hinge pinch? Hinge pinch. So we're gonna replace the hinge pinch. Let me move the camera and get some tools and show you what we do. I've never done this before. Don't know what's gonna happen, but they say 99 to 2006 Chevy GMC trucks and 2000 to 2006 Suburbans and Yukon XLs, Tahoes, Yukons, Escalades, stuff like that. Doesn't look too crazy, but we do have to take the door off. You're gonna have to lift up the door, Amanda. All right, so the first step is you're gonna have to disconnect the electric going into the door. This door has everything that could possibly be electric-wise. It's an LT model, so it's got it all. So I don't know how many wiring harnesses are going through this rubber boot here, but we're gonna find out. And the first step is gonna be to remove your sill plate, which should be just stuck in there with those metal clippy dickies. So I'm going to try to pry this out without breaking it. It's old plastic, so it may not, and it came out pretty easy. Oh, that's because two of them were already broken. One's got the metal clippy dicky on it. The other one doesn't have the metal clip. Oh, it's stuck in the thing, so we'll have to fix that, putting it back in. Did you get that, Amanda? Amanda's behind the camera right now. Instead of using the tripod, we're using Amanda. Oh, look. Wrappers, go figure. All right, once you have that sill plate, you need to get the little kick panel off over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, I'm going to put the parking brake down all the way just to get it out of my way. And I believe this is going to pry off with clips also. That looks like a clip, so there's probably one right here. Hopefully I don't break anything.
You probably will.
Probably. Like I said, it's old plastic, so chances are we're going to break some kind of clip. We'll get it back in though. Aha! So parking brake all the way down was no good. We just needed it almost all the way down, and it comes right out. One clip there, broken clip there, and no clip there, so we're good with that one. Now that we got that out of the way, this is that broken clip. I wonder if I should take it out all the way and maybe try to put it in the right way when we put it back in.
Please ignore our unvacuumed car.
Oh, it's nasty in here. It's nasty in here because the boys have been using this car
For work.
Going back and forth to work, and this slobs. So now that we got this out, the only other thing is this one here. This is where the interior fuse panel is. So you're gonna grab it off the bottom, and it should just unclip from the top like that. All right, because we are gonna have to get in there as well. And if you have any kind of aftermarket crap in here, it's probably gonna be in your way. All right, so the first harness that we have to get out is gonna be right back over here. You see this? What color would you call that, Amanda? Like a
orange?
An orangey maroon rust color wire harness. This needs to come out because this actually goes down to the door. So if you could see, at the bottom of it is a little push tab. That's locking it in, so you're gonna have to press that push tab to get it out. If you have a bunch of wires like I do here, zip tied together, you might have to unzip tie some of those wires. I think I can move these just out of the way a little bit without unzip tying everything. Right, and just a little wiggle when you push that tab, and this will come out. And there is a little Christmas tree clip behind it. I do have some zip ties, and I do have another harness connected to this. I don't know where this is going. I'm going to have to look into that. All right, so after a little digging around, it looks like this one does not have to come out. And it's a different one. So I guess the best way to do this is to actually look and see before you start unplugging harnesses. But no big deal. You need to get this one apart. So that one presses like that and separates. And then it connects to a harness up here. So this one is going to go down to the door. This one I can plug back in because this was not one of the ones that we needed out. So slide it back down, press it in. So you got this, and then you got the one that's plugged into the fuse panel, which is this one, and it's got a button on the side of it like that that you have to press. And that comes down and goes into the door. Here's the one that came up from the side, and this goes through the hole, which is right back here. Can you see where I'm pointing with my finger?
Yeah.
All right, a lot of this wire here is aftermarket crap that's in this truck. So we know this one's got to go through. And then we got this small one, which goes into the same hole. I'm not sure if it goes in the door though. And then there's this big one that goes up. Now, a lot of videos that you watch will say, and this is all more aftermarket crap that's in there, that you have to unplug this one. But I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing possibly this one. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to come onto the outside, and I'm going to take this boot off, just using a little plastic pry tool. You could pop the boot off of, there's a plastic retainer clip, and you could actually take a look in there and see what wires. And it looks like it's just going to be this one. No, it's definitely something else grabbing it. It's this little one here. So it's this little one here. There's a double locking tab, so it's got this orange locking tab, and then you gotta press it on the bottom and you could pull it out like that. So that looks like all I have going into my door is just these two harnesses. So I guess, you know, every make and model, well, even forget make and model, every year, whether it's a Suburban, a truck, a short one, is going to be a little bit different, and you just got to fish the wires through. All right, so pulling the plastic grommet out is definitely easier. I guess if you really twisted, you could get this, but the plastic grommet goes through the body, and from this side you can reach and just squeeze one of these push tabs, and you pull the whole plastic grommet out, which makes it a ton easier just to pull the wire out. And then you can slide your plastic grommet back down like that. And all these wires are gonna be through the plastic grommet like that. So we're gonna leave this just like that. Now that the electrical is disconnected, we can focus on getting the door off, which should be pretty straightforward. So now that we got the electrical disconnected and pulled out of the hole right here, inside the door you have your upper hinge, and there's a 10mm bolt holding the door to the upper hinge. And then down here, there's another 10mm bolt holding the door to the lower hinge. Can you see that, Amanda? see that bolt under the wiring harness there? All right, and then you got your door check or your door stop, or whatever you might call it, which is another 10mm bolt. So those 3 bolts come out and the door comes off. There's nothing else holding the door onto the truck. So you can use whatever implement of destruction you want. I'm going to go after the middle one first because that's got the least amount of tension on it. All right, and then I'm going to take the top one off. All three bolts look about to be the same, so you don't have to worry about getting them confused. They're all pretty much the same. Now the door is actually free, so before you lift it off, have a place where you're going to put it, whether you're going to put it on the ground, whether you care, whether you want to get a piece of scrap carpet, a drop cloth, a moving blanket, or you're going to throw it in the grass. What are we going to do?
Throw it in the grass.
We're going to throw it in the grass. All right, so with the door disconnected, I have no idea how heavy it is. I got Amanda standing by just in case I have trouble. You can grab it up here. I'm going to grab it by the door handle in here, and nope. Too heavy for that. Okay, so.
From the bottom.
From the bottom, you think?
No, you're pulling the handle right off. Don't do that. It's not breaking any more than it's already broken.
All right, this is going to be like.
From the bottom.
From the bottom.
Bend with your knees.
Bend with my knees, you think? I feel like it's going to fall over.
Oh well, can't take the top.
Okay.
From the bottom. Something is not letting it come out.
Not letting it come out. Oh, let's look. Oh. Oh. I figured it out. You know why when you take those bolts? You with me there, lady?
Yeah.
You know why when you take those bolts the door doesn't fall off?
Why?
It's not because it's like stuck in there. It's sitting on the top of the hinge pins. So.
You have to take the hinge pins out and I have to catch
No,
the
no,
door.
no, no. You got to lift the door up about that much to get them up and over the hinge pins. It's actually sitting on the hinge pins themselves.
Okay.
We'll be able to show you once we get the door off. That's what it is. Okay. So you got to actually lift the door up. All right. So this is going to be an adventure. All right. I'm underneath and on the side. There we go. Lift it up and it comes off. Look at that. Once we gently lay the door down, much easier. So now, if Amanda grabs the camera off the tripod, we can show you. So the door itself, on the hinge side of the door, actually sits on these pins. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's what the door was sitting on. So that's why the door won't come off when you unbolt it. You have to lift it up in order to put it off and on. So there's my bad top one. The bottom one's not a whole lot better, a little better. And then the top one on this has got some play in it, a little bit. Not nearly as much as the top. And then this one's got some play in it also. So some of these are held in by C-clamps, and some of them are held in by what it looks like a push or a swelled sort of hinge pin. This one definitely does not have a C-clamp on it. That one's got a washer, but no C-clamp. So none of these are C-clamps. So if you come up under here, Amanda, all right, you can see how this pin here is like bulged out.
Move the light. Okay.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
So that's not going to fit up through the hole. So that's going to have to get ground off. This one, same thing. There's no C-clip or anything. Wonder how they even put that in. And the same thing on the bottom ones too. I thought I had C-clips because I looked underneath there and I didn't really. I saw the washer on the bottom. And the washer looked like a C-clip. So you can either grind these bottoms off or you could cut the tops. I think you're supposed to grind the bottom. So I'm gonna have to get a grinder. I'll grind those bottoms out and we'll be right back with you. So with the bottoms ground down, and they should be flush enough where you kind of wear away a little bit of the top metal there. You should be able to take a punch and punch them up. That one came out. one's a lot tougher. All right, so just visualizing how it went on. It sits in between the hinge, and then we pull it out, and that's the upper one. I don't know if they're different, upper and lower. So I'll keep the upper one up there, and I'll put the lower one down there. And now let me try to beat these out. Hopefully this one comes out a little easier. And now you got your old bushings that are in there. Here's my bottom bushing. It's like some kind of metally rubber, and it's completely gone. Oh no, or is that just a coating? And there is a bushing in there. Let's try these top ones here. Oh yeah, so I still got a bottom one in there, so if I take this little, I'll take this guy here. So you can see the bottom bushing there. You just want to knock that out. Now you got two clean holes. Then we're going to move up to the top, do the same thing. So on the top here, I got two bushings in. They come in from the top to the bottom. Bang out like that. Look how this one's so wobbly. I could probably push it out. Yep. So it's these bushings that wear out in combination with the pins to a certain extent. So now we'll get our kit. All right, so we got our new hinge pins. It's a Dorman, and I'll link it in the description below. All right, I'm gonna open it up. Now these pins come in two different ones. You can see the knurling on the top on one and the knurling on the bottom on the other. Now, they are gonna go into the bracket here, and they're gonna go into the bracket so that the knurling is in this part of the bracket. So when this bracket goes in here like this, right, the top pin is going to have the one with the bottom knurling, because you're going to want it to go in the bracket, and the bottom pin is going to have the top knurling, because the top knurling is going to be in the bracket when it's all the way in. All right, so we got the pins that have C-clips on them to hold them in place. You can get ones that you bolt in with nylon locking nuts. Those you need to adjust, you know, how much tension there is on the door, and the concern is always that they're going to work their way loose, even though the nylon locking fastener shouldn't work its way loose. So you got two bushings. The bushings are all the same. I'm gonna put one in the top, one in the bottom. All right, and you got to help tap it in a little bit. Shouldn't take much. Just a little tap, get them in there so that they're flush. All right, and then we know that our top pin is going to get the bottom knurling. See how it comes out right over here where the bracket will be, and our top pin is going to get the top knurling because the bracket is going to sit up over here like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little white grease to make installation just a little bit easier. Take my two pins out for now. I'm actually going to wiggle the bushings up and out. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little white grease in the hole. Two bushings in. All right, and I'm going to take some. I'm going to take the top pin, which has got the bottom knurling, and I'm going to give it a nice coating of white grease, just like that. I'm going to take my top bracket, and I'm going to drop this one in. Alright, so I just find it in the hole there, and then I can take my bottom pin, grease it up with some white grease, and I'm going to drop it right at the top there like that. Alright, now I'm going to take my hammer, and hopefully get it down far enough where we can get the washer and the bottom one went in pretty easy, so I'm going to take a washer and a C-clip, and I'm going to put it bottom one in and get the C-clip in. Looks like I need just a little persuasion to get that. C-clip in. Once that C-clip's in, at least you know the bottom ain't going anywhere. The top is proving to be a little stubborn, whacking that down because the bracket actually gives a little bit. I'm wondering if maybe I grab it with a pair of vice grips and then I can give it a better smack. I think that might be the way to go. I could put it like here, grab it with vice grips there. I think I'll try that. Now the top one doesn't have to go in nearly as far because it doesn't get a washer like the bottom one did. So don't kill yourself trying to get that top one too far. You just need it far enough so that you can get the C-clip in place. Once that C-clip is in place, you get to go, and you can see there's very little side-to-side play. So on the bottom here, we're just going to repeat the process. A little white grease, pushing in the top, pushing in the bottom. The bottom pin has the knurling on the top. Once we realize where we're at, we got our knurling on the top. Take our bracket. Okay, and that one's going to go in. And now the top one, all right, has the knurling on the bottom. So put that one in, and I am going to use this little vice grip trick right away. It did make it much easier. So I'm gonna, and you don't need a giant clamp. I mean, you could get one if you want, but just to hold it in place so that it's not bouncing around on you. Okay. Tap that one down. Take the C-clip. However you like to put the C-clips in. Put them in, make sure they're in good. You want to hear that little click when they come in. And then the bottom. I guess it would have made more sense to maybe put the bottom in and whack it from the top without the thing in your way, but you can pretty much go like this. Can't get the bracket on like that. You got a fat washer that goes on the bottom. Excuse my head, but you gotta get down there. It is very difficult to do blind. All right, and that C-clip is in. And this hinge is in. If you want to get a little white grease in there, or spray it with some kind of lube, that's entirely up to you. I like to use white grease when I can get it in there easily, like this when it's all wide open. Get it nice in between. These feel nice. This one feels nice. All right, so that's harder than it looks because you can't see how high you have to get the door. So time to call for a helper because she went inside because the bugs were eating her alive.
It doesn't reach.
You're not helping. Hold the door.
I can't see. That's the problem. See, it's not that easy.
It's not. Okay, so without a doubt, getting it back onto the hinges is definitely a two-person operation. I'm sure the second one will be easier, but we're just doing one. So it was a little bit of a wrestling match to try to get it onto the pins, but now it's on the pins, and I can put my bolts back in. All right, so with everything bolted in, I just have to fish my wires back through. All right, so clearly the only way you're gonna get this boot back on nicely is by putting it on the plastic retaining clip prior to sliding it through the hole. Ask me how I know? Because I just spent the better part of a half hour trying to get that thing in off camera. All right. Okay, so that's in nice. This is gonna go up. All right, so I came underneath. I put that other cable in there, that third, the small one that had the safety, anti-tamper removal doohickey, whatever it was. And now I can put this kick panel back. So my crappy sill plate is pretty much busted up. Here's, this end's got a clip on it that looks like it was really jacked up. This end's still got enough bite for the clip, which a lot of times they stay in the metal groove. But if I could get this one in and this one in their respective hole, it'll be good enough for this old biddy here. closes nice and easy. All in all, not that bad. The hardest part was definitely getting the door to sit back down on the hinge pins. You definitely need either a, you know, like an engine hoist with a strap around the top of the door holding the door up, and you could get inside and line it up, or a second set of hands. Good lighting is a must. They definitely made it look easier on every article I read about it on the forums and a couple of YouTube videos that I watched. Putting door hinge pin repair kits in, they made it look a lot easier than it was. Especially on older vehicles, you're going to break some plastic clips. That's just the way it is. We broke the one remaining front plastic clip on this lower sill panel, so I put a small sheet metal screw between the two plastics just to hold the two plastics together so it wouldn't move. And then I put a sheet metal screw in through the sill into like a little plastic channel that's underneath it, being sure not to hit any wires. There's just a plastic channel there running, and that'll hold it in place. Listen, it's an old truck. It's a 2003. It's got 190,000 miles on it. It's beat up pretty good. It's starting to rot out pretty good, but it's our workhorse. We like it, and we just want it to function well. A couple screws here or there, I'm not going to be concerned over. If you got a newer truck and you're breaking plastic and you want to replace it, hit a junkyard or dealer parts. But for this old girl, this was perfect. I should have done it a while ago. You can see now there's really no play in the door at all. Yeah, there's a hair, but that thing closes nice now. I don't have to slam it every time I close it. I think it worked out pretty good. Didn't realize I was going to need the angle grinder to grind those bottoms off. I thought there were C-clips or E-clips on the bottom of those pins. But so if you're going to do this project, you're probably going to need a grinder, unless there are clips on yours. They weren't on mine. The repair kit that I bought had the C-clips. You can buy a repair kit with bolts so that they're threaded, and you can put a nylon locking nut on them that comes in the kit. I'm just worried that they're going to eventually work themselves loose. If that nylon locking fails a little bit from opening and closing constantly, they're going to work themselves loose. But that's it. Let me know, comments, suggestions, criticisms. What should I have done differently that would have made the job a little bit easier? It wasn't that hard. It was just a little wrestling back and forth. Like I said, I never did it before. Just did a little bit of research. But do your own homework. Make sure you got the stuff you need. And as always, thanks for watching.